What is up, guys? Jake from One Hive here with an attack strategy video. One you guys have been waiting on for a while now, the Valk how to. More specifically, we're going to be talking about GoVaLo Valks with the use of at least one golem uh, and balloons on the back end. You can also use hogs for the back end sometimes. I just depend on the base. We're going to look at some different things like that. But basically what you're going to want to look for is bases with cored air defenses. You want to have them, you want to create a nice funnel for your Valks, use the golem to tank for them and your heroes and get to that core, take out those air defenses, and then obviously use your balloons for the exposed outer defensive buildings that are remaining with little or no air protection because your Valks have destroyed the core. So that's going to be the common theme. Lots of different ways you can do it. You can do it with one golem, two golems. You can do a lure, no lure. None of that stuff is set in stone. It's sort of specific to the base and your own style. Some people prefer not to lure with Valks. They're pretty tanky especially when you have a heal on them. But the one thing that can wreck your Valks is a CC full of wizards. So keep that in mind. 4 or 5 max wizards shooting a bunch of grouped up Valks, it's not going to be good for you. But we will start looking at some basics, get into some specifics, and talk about it as we go. There's a little bit more to cover, but basically the common theme is get those Valks in the core, take out the air defenses, wreck the base with your balloons. So let's get started. All right, here's the first base we're going to look at. Before we get started, shout out to Pero for really helping me with this. He's one of our expert Valk attackers, gave me some pointers, something that I have not experimented much with, so he really helped me when talking about, just strategy and what to use and what kind of bases and all that stuff. So really appreciate it, Pero. Thanks for the help, buddy. GoVaLo takes out this base and does it with, again, you can vary on this, but he does it with 2 golems, no lure, and no lightning for the CC troops. Drops a golem here, a golem here. We talked about how you want bases with cored air defenses, and while these are technically not in the core, any base that has air defenses that you can sort of take out on the way to the core, that works just as well. If your kill squad comes in or your Valks coming into the core are going to take those air defenses out, then on the way, it's just as good as them being in the core. It gets them in here, takes out this wall so everything can go in. Another thing about attacking with Valks is make sure you have a nice wide funnel, wider than you normally would. The reason being is this right here is a magnet for Valks. Even if you break the funnel here and you drop your Valks, they could easily sprint over there because they are looking for buildings that have, touching each other, where they can get in there and swing. That's sort of what their AI tells them to do. Find those buildings like that. So make sure your funnel is nice and wide, especially if you're looking at buildings like that on the outside. It can really screw you up if you don't take that into consideration when sending your Valks in. So GoVaLo drops some golems here, wizards nice and wide to create that funnel, get everything going, wall breakers for this wall. As everything starts to come in, he has a rage spell instead of a lightning, which that's fine, that works. He has a jump spell to let everything into the core, which is good. CC troops start coming out, he drops his rage spell. As the Valks are going in, he drops a heal spell for them. Remember, the only time that your Valks are really in danger of being wiped out quickly is when they're dealing with the CC troops. So make sure, if you're not going to lure and kill the CC troops, you've got them raged and you've got them healed while they're dealing with that. It is the biggest threat to them. It's the most stressful time in the raid for your Valks, right there when they're dealing with the CC troops. So make sure you take care of that. All that goes down. The Valks get in the core and then do what the Valks do, which is just absolutely wreck face. He drops another heal for him here. They take out the queen so quickly, and then they get in between these buildings and take them out in just a few swings. Once all this is dead, you see what's left. He just starts sending in, targeted balloons on all these outside buildings. That's all you have to do. Once you have the air defenses taken out, it is basically easy pickings for your balloons to come in and do their thing. So we will back out, watch the replay, and then talk about another base. Okay, here we go. Again, the golems go down immediately, start drawing fire from all that point defense, followed up by the wizards just to create that funnel. Again, with a focus on those double buildings that are touching each other that are just magnets for your Valks. Then you see the wall breakers go down, let everything right in there, the queen following it up, and then the golems reroute. They're going to start going in. The king gets down. And then right here, as the CC troops come out, you see the rage go down, and here comes the Valks coming up. Just a little delay there, not a huge delay, but making sure that they're not being targeted by those CC troops. And then they get in there under that rage very quickly and take them out. The jump spell to let them into the core, again, they're having to stop, take out a few skeletons, but they are in absolutely no danger right here. That heal spell, forget about it. There's nothing going to hurt those Valks in that core. Nothing can kill them while they're under heal like that. They are going to just walk through all those defensive buildings. And you see the queen back there as that CC goes down. She's going to focus on that other air defense. So right here, the last air defense being targeted, balloons already going down, just a few for each one. A lot of defensive buildings left, but with 13, I think he had maybe 14 balloons. Really all he needed. You see the Valks are going to bust through. They are going to do some more damage, but the balloons are really the star at this point. Just going to absolutely start wrecking defenses, taking everything out. Be careful on back end balloons with Teslas. Teslas are hard on balloons. So if you know a base has some back end Teslas like that, really focus on that. Make sure you send enough balloons because they can take balloons out very quickly. They have a lot of DPS and they fire very fast. So be on the lookout for that when you're talking about your back end balloons. Let's get looking under the base. All right, here's the next one we're going to look at. This one was taken out by Lala. I know it says too cool over here, but he actually 3-started after she did, and she used Valks. Now, this space is a little different because they're not all cored again, but again, on the way to the core, obviously Lala is going to get one, and then that second, or that last one, is going to be taken out just a little later in the raid. So again, that can still work. They don't all necessarily have to be clumped in the core, but this setup does work. Lala elects to do a CC lure, unlike what GoVaLo did on the first attack. Just a few balloons here to take out this cannon and grab the CC lure and pull them over to the side. She brings witches, she brings a normal kill squad. That's fine, and she actually brings fewer Valks. It's just a thing that you're going to have to figure out what works best for you, what works best for the base you're attacking. There's no set standard army composition. It's all base specific. And Lala does a really good job here. Now, another thing that Lala does different is only brings one golem. This is something you really need to consider when you're talking about your GoVaLo attack, because Valks are quick. They're going to get out ahead of your golems quickly. So if you're bringing 2 golems, make sure that you're getting the benefit from those 2 golems. Make sure a lot of the attacks are going to happen before your Valks are sent in. If you're going to send those Valks in relatively quickly, i.e. you've done a CC lure, all you have to do really is create your funnel and get a jump spell down for them to go in there. Probably 1 golem is better because, again, the Valks are going to get out ahead of it and end up doing the tanking anyways. So what Lala does is take that cannon down there, gets the CC lure, brings them up top, uses her witches, wizards, all of that, sends a golem in from this side, and drops a nice jump spell right there. Now, obviously, wizards are used to create the funnel. Once that nice wide funnel is created, the Valks are deployed, sent straight in. Going to drop a rage for them in the core and a heal spell. I think she actually has a heal spell here and heal here. So basically, the entire time they're in the core, the Valks are healed, partially raged, and then healed on the back end as well. This air defense goes down as the kill squad works its way through. The Valks take out these air defenses, and then from here, they work down and bust this wall and come down this direction. Now, because of the way they routed, Lala starts sending in her balloons from the top, just taking out all these defensive buildings, and ends up with basically, just a few down here at the bottom that the kill squad comes around to, and the balloons come down to help finish off. So it was a very nice attack. Let's watch Lala do it, and then we'll move on to the next and last base. Okay, here we go. She starts again with the lure on the bottom. This was a cleanup attack, by the way, and she knew those Teslas were there, so she pre-triggered them with the barb. I forgot to mention that, and then took those Teslas out that were blocking the lure, and then sent the cannon in, or the balloons into the cannon to get the CC lure. Followed up with a hog because she knew the balloon was in the CC. So I forgot to mention that in the drawing, but you know, it doesn't change anything on the attack. So then brings them over to the side. Again, just a barb, just an anchor over here, and then a few barbs for distraction. Gets her witches down, the few wizards to back up, and then the queen goes down. Normal CC kill here, nothing out of the ordinary. Almost like she was going to do a hog attack or whatever. So that's fine in this attack. If it's an easy lure, if it works better for you, go ahead and do it. Get it taken care of. And then she elects for the one golem, sends it down, starts to create her funnel immediately. Then once that's created and done, sends the king in, drops the jump spell, and then here come the Valks because they're going to be stuck. The jump spell is powerful for Valks, again, because they're attracted to certain setups, and you can sort of direct them to that. You see the first heal there, giant bomb, and the queen, no problem for these Valks. Drops a nice rage in the core. Valks under rage are just something special, especially when you've got a group of them like that. Then a heal on the back end. Now, I forgot to mention in the drawing as well, the 5 hogs she got there, she used those right there at the bottom, you see, as almost a way to take out that last air defense. It could have been balloons, because if you'll see right here, the Valks are getting in there, they would have taken it out. Besides that, just targeted balloons all the way around the outside of the base, taking out all those defensive buildings. The hogs are pretty much been sprung right here. There's a few left, and they do help out. So that's something you can incorporate. But again, had those 5 hogs been balloons, she simply could have waited until that air defense was down and then deployed the balloons right there in their stead. You see the golem there? Not even busting into golemites. You see what I'm talking about, how those Valks get out ahead so early. And tend to start tanking on their own. So be careful taking that second golem. Make sure you really get some use out of it. Right there, you see it cleaned up. Let's move on to the last attack. All right, here's the final base we're going to look at. Another attack by GoVaLo. Very similar style to the first attack that he did. Sending in 2 golems. But when GoVaLo does this, he's really using the golems as a method for eliminating the CC troops. Really getting a lot of tanking out of them. You see both of them busting the golemites. So just drops the golems down there, creates a nice wide funnel. This is a perfect illustration of what I was talking about, of making sure your funnel and really examining buildings that are out there. Because what happens here is all of this gets taken out, but this little section remains. And once he uses his wall breakers to get in, take out the CC troops, and drops a nice jump for his Valks there and sends the Valks in. This wall is busted right here, and because this is all connected, they decide, hey, here's 2, even though this jump's already there, they can go right to the core. Here's 2 buildings touching each other, and like a magnet, it sucks them right to it. Now, luckily, because these 3 buildings are right here together, and once they're taken out, the next closest thing they want to go to is this jump spell and the core, so they sort of reroute. But you've got to be mindful of that. Things like that can really, if this was open or there was a bigger compartment, it could change the entire raid. So really pay attention to that when you're using your Valks. GoVaLo goes very light on the Valks on this one. I think there's only 8 Valks, and very heavy on the balloons. We'll talk about that more in a moment. There's a good reason why he did that. But once the Valks get in the core, drops a heal for him. Actually, the first heal is a little off. I think he might have been a little early on that one. But then a rage and a heal in the core. And that's just, again, 8 or 10 Valks in an area like this with a heal and a rage where they're basically standing in it is just devastating. Obviously, all the balloons are in the core. They're going to go, or actually all the air defense are in the core. They're going to go down very quickly, and then it's just about sending in those back-end balloons. Again, he goes heavy on the balloons, and that's because this is a common base, and you know the Teslas are out here. Remember what we said. Teslas are hard on back-end balloons. They shoot very quickly. They do a lot of damage. So he has to be heavy on that, start sending in these balloons, and just, in essence, at this point, completely wrecks the outside of the base. And those Valks in the core are pretty much just, their job is done. They're completed. The balloons can handle it from there, and then it's just cleanup time. So let's watch this last attack, and then we will wrap this thing up. Okay, here we go. You see the composition there, only 8 Valks, 16 loons, 2 golems. The golems go in. Here come the wizards to create that nice wide funnel. Several wizards there. He really wants to create that funnel, make sure the Valks head to the core. Very smart. The wall breakers come in. They're going to open up that compartment, and then the queen, obviously, right there backing up, and the king goes down. Now, here's the CC troops with those 2 golems. GoVaLo does not even expend the rage on this part of the attack, just letting the golem soak up all that damage, letting the queen, those wizards, all that take out the CC troops. Once it's pretty much under control, you see the Valks go in. Anything left, they can help clean up very easily. Right there, you see that wall's busted, and here they go. Like a magnet, straight over to those two buildings touching each other. They're going to completely clear out that compartment before they head to the core. But with the jump spell there, they are going to go back in there. You see that first heal spell, too far out, a lot of dead space covered. But besides that, perfect. The rage was great, going in right there, wrecking it. And then the back end heal is perfect. Those Valks are completely protected. No worries, no trouble. Now the balloons are going to start coming in. You see 16 balloons. That is a lot. And they are just going to be going in, taking out those. Remember, those Teslas are very dangerous, so doing a little heavy there. You'll see how quick, in fact, on that top part there, the second set has to come in and back it up because the first set almost didn't get it done. But then everything else, you see, just taking out defenses all at once very quickly. Once that's done, it's just cleanup time. That's pretty much it, guys. That's the basics. This is a thing. You have to tether your army to the base you're taking out, to your style, whether you want to lure or not lure, all those things. It's all in play. But this is what kind of bases you want to look for. Valks are very powerful under the right circumstances. Hope you liked it. Hope it grabs a few stars for you. Maybe wins a war. Until next time, Jake from One Hive reminding you guys to suck less.